So we've been here for a few days building the shrine, and we use an old practice which you could call ascending symbolic order. Some of the symbolic orders come from the top down. If you think about the Ten Commandments, Moses goes up to the mountaintops, he gets the commandments from the divine, they're etched in stone, he brings them down, everybody has to follow them, and things like that. That's the descending order. The ascending order starts with the earth and nature and with the plants and the trees and the branches, and you basically gather things from the environment and you create a ritual from the ground up. And the benefit of that style, the style that we're using, you could call it creative ritual. The benefit of that is it's created new every time. And so now what we want to do is do the first part of it, which I mentioned, is a memorial or a remembrance. And in this case, a remembrance of the ancestors. Ancestors are those who are alive and passed on. And we refer to them as the dead. But in South Africa, they're called the living dead. We are the living, and the souls who pass on are called the living dead, as if to suggest that they're not completely gone. As a matter of fact, the old proverb was, as long as you're saying or singing the name of someone, they're not actually gone. They're not actually dead. The other thing about it is we begin with touching death. Again, the mystery behind it is death is not the end. Death is a kind of end that leads to a beginning. If we divorce ourselves from the presence of death, we actually have a lesser capacity for imagination and creativity. And so one of the old traditions is you begin a solstice event or the end of the year event by honoring those who have passed on. The idea of the candle is an ancient, deep understanding that in the heart of a person, as I said before, there is a spark that used to be considered a spark of the stars, that each person is secretly related to the stars, but it was also a flame in the heart. And so every time we see a candle, we're moved by it because it's a powerful, ancient, resonant symbol of the flame within the heart. And when a person dies, it's as if that flame has gone out. We bring them back momentarily by placing a candle to respect, honor, and recall the way they burned with intelligence, beauty, whatever the elements are, while they were alive. So the idea is that this forgiveness is a letting go and also an opening up and then a renewal. You know, this idea keeps coming back when you study tribal traditions and follow the mystical poets. This idea that the renewal is always nearby, but we have to let go of something and we have to forgive ourselves to be open enough to receive the visit of spirit and the blessing of the unseen. And this word forgiveness is interesting. It comes from two different Greek roots. One is charis or charis, charis, which means the grace that absolves us, and thus mercy, forgiveness, and clemency. We can't get enough of mercy and forgiveness, at least I can't. And the other root of forgiveness comes from this sense of letting go, loosening, and releasing. There's so much anguish in the world. It's so well known and well journalized now that we have to allow this stuff to pass through us and forgive ourselves for misunderstanding or making a mistake or believing the wrong thing, or we get trapped. And so there's an idea of releasing and forgiving. Creation is not something that happened back there and we're in the aftermath of it. Creation is ongoing, just the way a forest grows up and then the trees that were the tallest collapse and they rot back into the earth and give birth to the next forest. We're living in connection with that mystery. People used to study the text of nature in order to imagine and better understand the story of humanity. Most creation stories begin with eternal darkness. And creation begins when the light comes out of the darkness. The light comes from darkness. And when we find ourselves in dark times, we're actually closer to creation than we might be otherwise. This is the dark season. This is the dark time on earth, and we're actually close to the possibility of helping, beginning to reimagine and help recreate the world. That would be the mythological idea. It's a very big idea, but we need big ideas now. And so now we're going to move on from the stated prayers, but keep the prayers awakening in your hearts. You can pronounce them during the song. You can write them down and return to them later. You can make a little shrine in your house or on your porch or out in the yard or out in the forest. You just use the basic things, bring some candles and say some prayers and sing some songs. It's the most natural thing to do, and it moves the weight, it softens the pain, it relieves some of the anguish, and it makes us more able and more willing to step back into the world and make the world a place of beauty again. Part of the business of rituals and shrines is making beauty. And as someone once said, each time we make beauty, there's left space for the enemies of life to stand. So now we're just going to sing the song and make as much beauty with our voices as we can. Azima wo 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 Azima wo. And let's sing for all those we love that we know suffer in one way or another, that the flame in their hearts could grow greater, that they might find the healing that they most need, that their lives may become a true expression of who they are inside, for all those we love. Azima wo 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 Azima wo. And since Azima means gratitude to the earth and gratitude for the gift of life, let's sing for the earth, the future of which has become uncertain. Maybe we could say has become uncertain again. For the earth itself that freely, generously, instinctively, infinitely gives us nourishment from below in the form of food, in the form of a place to stand, and in the forms of beauty. Let's pray for that earth, that the earth might be respected again and might be returned to its place of relevance and importance and centrality. We are, after all, the children of the earth, and we are best when we have that in our minds and in our hearts. For the earth, gratitude to the earth, and for ourselves, gratitude for the gift of life. Azima wo 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 Azimawo, 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 Azimawo.